Maribeth,
I'm here.
Freya, Sophia,
Here.
Kimberly,
Here.
Lisette. Thank you.
Thanks, Rosie. Okay, can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first we'll have the agenda approved. Could I get a motion a second, please?
Motion to approve the agenda?
Second. All right. We're going to start off with communications. Oh, sorry, Rosie, go ahead.
We are back to normal, regular votes, so all in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you.
Did you see our mouths move when we said that?
I know your voices now.
Okay, now we're going to move on to public comments. We have one comment tonight. It's Doug Forster. Doug, if you could come up, please. We'd love to hear your comment.
Hello, hello. All right. Can I take off my mask or prefer it on? Okay. Okay, just while I speak for the 3 minutes, and I'll put it back. All right. Hi. So I got 3 minutes, is that right? Okay. Hi, my name's Doug Forster. Forster. I am a parent and a resident on Skyline Boulevard and a retired teacher from Santa Paula Unified School District in Ventura County. And I'm here to talk to the board about two things. I've been substitute teaching in the district and really enjoyed it. You have great teachers and great students. And I wanted to just mention two things that I think might help. And so the first thing is PBIS. I see that's kind of positive behavior, and I see really good behaviors, but I also see not so good behaviors. And I think it would be wise to do a district-wide, like, kind of umbrella to cover all of the schools. And I personally use CHAMPS at our school and our district. CHAMPS is an acronym that stands for Conversation, Help, Activity, Movement, Participation, and Success. And the theory is that if you state those expectations to the students, most of them will comply. And then it's all about building relationships, really, because, you know, when you have students that are getting along with the teacher, you can get more stuff done. And I encourage you to consider CHAMPS or some kind of district-wide PBIS, because although I've seen really great behavior, I think maybe it would be better to have a little consistency. And then my second topic is an opportunity I think the board has, and the superintendent, and I see Mr. Nazar here today. I'm really sad to see him go, but Mr. Nazar and Mr. Barnes, apparently, you know, the two, in my opinion, the middle school and the high school, maybe the two most important administrators, and they're both changing positions or leaving. And I think you have a really big opportunity and also a big challenge to fill their shoes. And I encourage you to find somebody that is going to walk around the campus and observe student behavior in the classroom. My former principal, George Alessi, did that. He visited every classroom, every period, and he really walked around. There were about 40 or 50 classrooms, and all he did was come in there and look at the students and make sure that they were doing what he expected them to do. And he made announcements and things like that. And he was the kind of the CHAMPS leader. And I encourage you to find somebody that may, you know, that will commit themselves to, you know, filling the big shoes that Mr. Nazar and Mr. Barnes have, and somebody that will commit to walking around and be present in the classrooms. And I got 4 seconds to go. Thank you so much.
Very good timing. Thank you.
And I'm probably going to go home now because my wife was kind of shocked about that I'm leaving, coming home and then leaving again. But
You can watch us online. You can catch up. You can catch up tomorrow on YouTube.
And thank you for talking to me earlier. Good to see you. Thanks for working with us, Doug.
All right, let's move on to our employee organizations report. First up, we have CUTA.
I like Mr. Forster's style, so I think I'll drop my mask for my speech. Superintendent McFetridge, President Alexander, board members, and district management. My name is Sean Reardon, and I'm a co-president of the Cabrillo Unified Teachers Association. At this first in-person board meeting in 2 years, I'd like to note the absence of Jesus Contreras and wish him a speedy return to Cabrillo. We miss his familiar face and his personable presence. In-person communication is more effective than Zoom, and I can attest to that comparing the last 2 school years. So I'm glad we're back in person tonight. In person has been better, but after the socio-emotional delay students experienced and the significant learning loss this year has left teachers exhausted, cranky, short-tempered, and actually some of us actually bruised and battered. So while it's good that in-person communication has returned with the board level, it's great that in-person communication has returned between the CUTA leadership and Superintendent McFetridge. During a brief conversation on Tuesday evening, Dr. McFetridge and I were able to clear up issues around subpay and swiftly clear up a clerical issue involving insurance coverage. And while some of the paperwork is yet to be finalized, the solution was speedy and satisfying to both parties. I hope and I believe that this productive back and forth will continue as we approach the inevitable hiccups and bumps in the road as the year comes to an end. CUTA members, bargaining members especially, are relieved that we have settled with the district on salary. And while we're appreciative of the 5.29% increase, which sounds like a game changer, we still need to remember that it leaves CUSD among the lowest paid on the peninsula. The last 2 bargaining cycles led to impasse and kept the bargaining teams out of their classrooms for multiple days this year. I hope we can avoid that coming to the table next in August. I think it's in the interest of all stakeholders in CUSD that the district come to the table as early as possible with an offer that can be accepted by the CUTA. Budgetary priorities must be made to ensure CUTA educators' compensation package continues to close the gap with our closest neighbors. Our students' need for qualified, experienced teachers depends on it. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. All right, now we have CSEA.
Good evening, President Alexander, Superintendent McFetridge, board members, administrative staff, and the public. My name is Stiglin, and I am the president for CSEA. We support today 122 members. And the last week we had a negotiation with the district, and our contract, we have gone through a lot this year. Cleaning up language who has been there for 15 years and no longer relevant. Yeah, everyone is looking forward to the end of the school and the summer again. I think everyone needs a break here and relax over the summer. Yeah, and we're gonna have a big summer school this year. I think there was about 500 students, and that's gonna be a big job too. Yeah, everyone working hard, thanks to MOT guys here setting up the tables and everything, and to my IT guys who helped setting up the electronic here today. I think that was what I had to say today, and thank you so much, and have a good evening.
Great, thank you. Okay, now we're going to move on to board member reports. You want to start? Who wants to start? Kim, Sophia? I don't care. Kim's going to start. Go ahead, Kim.
Sure. Good evening. I'm also very pleased to be back in person and seeing folks and sharing chocolate with people in the room. So, in all seriousness, I still have a family member who came down with COVID this week, not in my immediate household, but as a government employee, a lot of data is shared, and we're still an uptick in the Bay Area. So please, people, do take care of yourselves and stay healthy. I want to say how appreciative I am of tonight's agenda. We get to hear the VAPA presentation that's been in the works for 2 years, and so I applaud Dr. Bhatia for her diligence in bringing that to us. I also am proud that we're lifting up our, what's that word? The LGBTQ proclamation today. I'll say more at that point, but in the agenda. But I had the opportunity to visit Coast Pride with my daughter this week, look at the programs that are going on, and help participate in some planning for the wellness event that's coming up on May 21. It really should be a wonderful community event, and while you'll hear about it at the end of the agenda, it should come out on May 21st if you have an opportunity to do so. I'm also looking forward to attending the Jefferson Union High School District opening of their employee housing development. Please know that we have a real estate advisors working on our behalf to bring us a proposal, and I so look forward to seeing what's happening in Jefferson Union High School District and considering the possibility for housing here on the coast side. So stay tuned. And I very much look forward to tonight's meeting. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Kim. Who's up next? Sophia.
All right. Well, it's great to be back in person, and here we are in the 100 days of May. Even in a typical school year, we know to expect it to be a stressful time as our 180 days in classrooms comes to a close. And in this third year of the COVID-19 pandemic, we find ourselves transitioning to the aftermath of that pandemic, and we see the challenges that lie ahead. First, as reported earlier this week by the Berkeley Institute for Young Americans, the future of public education in California is truly at risk. A key factor, they say, is that, and I quote, "This roller coaster of funding has gone on for far too long. To secure the longevity and success of public education in California, lawmakers must invest in the adequacy and sustainability of the finance system." And as a reminder, our district remains one of the most low-funded in San Mateo County, with some fellow districts receiving nearly threefold our per-student revenues. Just wrap your head around that. I'm looking forward to attending our biannual CSBA delegate meeting, that's a California School Boards Association, in Sacramento in just a couple of weeks. And our goal really is to help collaboratively lead things in this direction. So second, as Mr. Reardon kindly suggested, it's a stressful time. We're all pretty crispy, shall we say, right now. So it's easy, really easy when we're stressed to lose sight of shared goals and either retreat or, get kind of a little frustrated or edgy. Obviously, none of that really helps us move forward. So to the extent that we can recognize all that we do have, and we do have a lot as a community, as individuals, and many of us have a lot of privileges too, be it, our background or educational attainment, different parameters. To the extent that we can use those resources in a rational way to support one another, and especially to support our students, I think that will be a way for us to be even more fulfilled as a whole. So, of course, challenges really are just opportunities when you view them as a glass half empty, not a glass half full. So I was really, really thrilled early this week to have convened the first in-person meeting of our Coastside Workforce Development Roundtable, a group I launched as a corollary to the Coastside Recovery Initiative on campus at CSM earlier this week. And I just want to extend a big thanks to Dr. McFetridge and to our CTE Director, Lisa Longacre from Half Moon Bay High, who joined us with partners at CSM, the library, ALAS, the city of Half Moon Bay, various groups across the city and the county to really think about how we're going to work together and develop our next generation workforce. So just a huge thanks for for you both, sharing a little bit with the group, a little bit more with the group about our high school programs and how they connect to college and career opportunities, and as well as a deeper dive into CTE and to real life learning, and as well as some really cool programs at Pilarcitos. So thanks to the staff at Half Moon Bay High School, Mr. Nazar and others who helped us prepare for this. Hopefully next time we can make it for a time more people can join us, because I know this is, again, such a busy time of year, but I just want to thank everybody. I also got to be at Half Moon Bay High recently for the opening of the Cougar Park, which is really cool and really exciting. Student-led, Mr. Jones very much supported project to bring a nice, really cool, fun hangout space to campus, which is a lot of what students had said earlier in the year that they wanted through a series of surveys that we had done through Health and Wellness Committee. So that's really cool. And looking ahead, I'll also be there tomorrow for the really exciting ribbon cutting of the Jefferson Union High School District's Educator Workforce Housing Complex. So that's really cool. And of course, we have a whole bunch of promotions and graduations. So I'm really excited. I'm planning to be at Hatch and at Farallon View and at the high school. So hope to see you all there.
Thank you, Sophia. Which one of you two would like to go? Freya.
Yeah, hi everyone. It's so good to see all of you in person. I mean, half of you. You're just the top part, and then the mass, the wonderful different mass. And hello to everyone, of course, out there. So yeah, still plugging away with the Environmental Committee. We had our last meeting of the year yesterday, and it's just been so wonderful working with the students and having them really take on more leadership, not only with what they're doing on campus themselves, but helping to facilitate the group and move it forward and have those further conversations about not just the recycling at the high school, the rain barrel, the native plant garden, but then also the recycling here at Cunha, at the elementary sites, and kind of how we can move forward with our environmental education and coordinating things. So that's been really exciting. And then also enjoying the CTE advisory meetings and hearing about how we're working on all of those things, as Sophia just mentioned. And John, just so happy for you, but sad for all of us. And I've been meaning to send you an email to synthesize that. And I'm sure we'll have something more formal later in the year. But I just wanted to thank you for all of your hard work and your dedication and your kindness. And you even talk to people in the community and they say, oh no, he's leaving. So I'm sure you'll still be around, but just wanted to take this moment to say that we're sad to see you go, but thank you so much for everything that you've done.
Go ahead, Lizette.
I usually like to go at the end because there's really not much to say, but there always is. I've been trying to keep up and stay informed in the environmental committee, helping Freya, who's done an excellent job, really training the kids and just leading the group. And I have to say, you have mentioned that this is your last year, so it's unfortunate, but it's also great to see how the kids have taken it on their own and made it their committee along with Mr. Santoni. So thank you for that. The VAPA, I've also been part of the VAPA with Kim, and it's thank you, Leticia, and all the work. I mean, I don't even know when you have time to sleep or be a mom. So thank you for all of that. It's great what you're doing, and the new curriculum / program that you introduced to us was very interesting. So thank you for doing the research and for just pushing for that. I also attended a ELAC meeting. Thank you, Leticia, once again. Unfortunately we're never at attendance as I wish we were, but there was a great opportunity of information. I got feedback from some parents who texted me and said, I'm so glad I didn't miss this one because Leticia invited community members who are working with the district and just talking about summer opportunities. And to top it off, she, like always, invites Jerry Lopez, who did an awesome presentation, just explaining to parents how, unfortunately, people with lower incomes their children tend to regress and have a disadvantage when it comes to learning opportunities, because of money and just having them exposed to different things. So thank you so much for that. I really thank you. I really thank you for all of that. And I also want to say I won't be able to attend. I was trying to take the day off to attend the morning graduations, but I will be at a mandatory training at work. So I just want to say thank you to all the teachers and the principals and congratulations, and to the new principals and vice principals. Thank you for everything. Mr. Nazar, I also want to thank you, and more on a personal level, because you're a great teacher. So thank you for everything. But I need my swag, because I didn't get any swag.
We have another meeting.
I didn't have swag when I was at high school. I don't even know why. Did we have even swag back then? Maybe there wasn't. We were on a budget.
Make sure you have a lot of.
Yes. And if I don't catch you, I'll make sure my mom gets it from you when they go over and do their thing. And then reading tomorrow. I'm so excited to go to Hatch tomorrow and do the readathon. This is like the third year I've been invited, and I did it also through Zoom, and it was different, but it was cool. So I'm always excited to do that. So thank you to the Hatch teachers and everybody at Hatch. So I'm looking forward to that. And that's it for me.
Thanks, Lizette. I just want to round off the end here with just giving a shout out to everyone going through May. So thank you to our staff. I know May's hard. It's the final stretch in a long game. So you're almost there. So I just want to thank everyone for all the hard work, because I know it's been a tough few years. And you're in the home stretch here. I know summer school starts for many of you soon after, but at least it's something different and new. So anyway, I just want to acknowledge that we know this is a hard time of year, and we know you're all working very hard, and we're all very proud of you. And with that, I will turn it over to Sarah for our student board member reports.
Okay. So from El Granada Elementary, CASP testing started this week for our 3rd through 5th graders. Construction on 2 new portables started today with preparations of the foundation. 5th grade classes are excited for the end of the year activities sponsored by our amazing PTO, with promotion scheduled for June 2nd at 8:30 a.m. Wishing everyone a safe and wonderful summer vacation. From Farallon View Elementary, last month we kicked off Earth Day by reopening our outdoor classroom and greenhouse. Thanks to the efforts of our PTO, students were able to plant sunflowers in our garden beds and take a sunflower plant home. Students have taken turns watering the garden beds, measuring plant growth, etc. Yesterday, CUSD staff met with Studio W architects to finalize our Phase 2 modernization plans. We are looking forward to revitalizing our campus in the coming year. Our 3rd through 5th graders students are currently engaged in CASP testing. All students will experience Oceans Week after that, and our 5th grade students are looking forward to promotion June 1st. From Hatch Elementary, there have been many exciting events happening at Hatch recently. Miss Arkell's 4th grade created business ideas, and we are writing opinion pieces on why investors should invest in their created business. Our 5th grade students worked in groups to present experiments at our science fair to students in grades TK through 4th. Thank you, Mr. Feltz, for your hard work on the science fair. Hatch Readathon started this week. Students are hard at work completing reading challenges and are filling out their Bookopoly reports for a chance to enter a raffle. The week will end with our community readers visiting classes and dress like your favorite characters from your favorite books tomorrow. Our 5th grade band put on a concert yesterday to showcase their hard work playing their instruments this year with Miss PS. Lastly, our principal, Miss John Mario, returned from maternity leave. Thank you, Mr. Robas, for your hard work as interim principal while she was away. From Kings Mountain Elementary, Kings Mountain launched Garden Club for the 4th through 5th grade class. Earth Day celebrations included germinating lima beans, planting wildflowers, and our Friday campus cleanup. Grades 3 through 5 are testing, while Kings Mountain is beginning to utilize our outdoors for science lessons, including creating clay seed blasts and building bird nests. We are planning a field day on the upper field May 31st to launch the summer, and June 2nd is 5th grade promotion. From Half Moon Bay High School, currently the high school is in a very exciting time of year. We celebrated the grand opening of the new Cougar Park, guided by leadership teacher Mr. Jones and supported by students and clubs. Advanced placement testing has been a huge focus for the past few weeks, and we are wrapping them up with the last ones tomorrow. Next week, we have our traditional Legacy Awards, yearbook dedication assembly, as well as senior local scholarship night and departmental awards night. And of course, our seniors are now very much looking forward to all that goes into graduation. From Ojasta Adult School, the new director to start July 1st, Drew Gamet, from Redondo Beach Adult School. Matt has moved to SLO, but is helping with the transition of new duties. Dental assisting will return in the fall for 6 students, and we are in need of teachers. So, thank you.
And then we just wanted to take this opportunity to thank Sarah for being our student board member for this last year. You've done a wonderful job. I really appreciate everything. For all of you that don't know, she's going to be attending the University of Michigan in the fall. So, right? Did I get it right?
Yes, I just got off the wait list for a school today, but...
Oh, no! Wonderful opportunity.
Either way. You need to make a pros and cons list. But thank you.
Congratulations, and thank you so much, Sarah.
And Sarah, we do understand, it's also what seems like the 100 days of May for you as well. So if you need to go and study or you have things to do, we understand. We love having you here, and we always love hearing from you as well. But if you do need to go, we understand. Okay, let's move on to our superintendent report.
Well, I just want to take a minute to say thanks to everyone, because everyone has talked about how challenging May is. And it does seem like the final push. This will be the last board meeting we have before the end of the school year. And I think it's not just been a year, it's been 2 years for the books, and I would say 3 years for the books because of some challenges that we've faced and overcome. I'm happy to see everybody taking care of their health and taking care of themselves, and we still strongly recommend masks, but we're just happy to be in person. I want to thank Sean Reardon in particular tonight to start for taking my call on Tuesday so that we could have talk on the phone, which was greatly helpful for me. And John Nazar also, the same day, called me to talk about an issue and how that same issue was affecting him and his peers. And it gave me a lot of context, and it was great and helped me cut through sort of like the back and forth via email. Sometimes I think computers are not always efficiency tools. They're sometimes difficult for human understanding. So I want to thank Sean and the spirit that we discussed on Tuesday of trying to keep the communication line open, and John for bringing an issue to my attention so that I could make sense of that issue and try to work to resolve it. Stig, I want to thank you and your colleagues for a very long but productive day of negotiations yesterday. It is true that there are like 10 items in the contract that we're trying to like clean up from over 10 years in the CUSA contract. And you and your colleagues have been very collaborative in that process, and I thank you. To our principals, we've mentioned this a little bit. Mr. Nazar, of course, you will be missed, but we know where you are. You're always with us. You will always be there. I think John has left an indelible imprint on the Half Moon Bay High School campus, just the 3 years that I've been here and been on that campus and seen how many people he knows. Paul Rubel from Rotary was just emailing me the other day and remembering visiting you and saying, that guy's amazing. He knew every kid's name on campus. And it's true. I think, John, you have really been a humanizing force there on that campus. And I know from talking to you that you've built so many things there in the last 7 years. And from your time before in the district. So I really want to thank you. I want to thank Claire Beltrami, who has come back and served so valiantly and gracefully through COVID, coming back to El Granada before your retirement as a principal. And you've just been a source of consistency and strength and expertise there. And so I very greatly appreciate, and I'll miss you also, but I understand grandchildren are waiting for you. I will also announce officially, I don't know if we have announced this, Erin O'Connor Brown, who is a teacher and a dean here at Cunha, will be taking the principalship at El Granada, and we wish her well, and we think that's a great thing, and I thank you for supporting her in that transition. I do want to also welcome back Alyssa Jaramillo. Thank you. I was joking with Alyssa. Gosh, you had a child, and I thought maybe you would say, I'm going to stay with my kid here. But we are happy to have you back. I'm sure Danielle's happy to have you back. I'm happy to have the team together back again. So Alyssa and Danielle, thank you for being here. It's kind of amazing. I told these principals, hey, you guys should stop coming to all these board meetings unless you're like presenting. But all the elementary school principals have shown up tonight to support and to be here. So it's kind of amazing. Amy McVicker, Debbie Silvera, thank you. Amy, thank you for talking to me the other day and reaching out to me and checking in on me. And Debbie, thank you for all the work you're doing to get summer school up and started. And I know you're working with Danielle on that. That is work that is ongoing all year long, and I'm very excited about that. I will say that James Barnes is going to make a move. As Doug Forster mentioned earlier, Mr. Barnes will be taking the coordinator of student services and special projects job, and so he will also oversee Pilarcitos High School as well as coordinator of student services next year. So those are big shoes to fill also. Ben Bartel, I know they make a great team, but I'm confident that and hopeful that we will find a new principal there. And I know that and I know that James will do wonderful work for us in the district office as we work towards reviving, how should I say that, reinvesting in PBIS and working with our administrators on training on restorative practice and that type of thing. And we do that because Jason Owens is taking his leave and will be ending his term with the district at the end of June. Trying to get all my notes here. Sarah already mentioned Matt Linton is moving to San Luis Obispo area, and Drew Gammett is going to be the new principal of the adult school, and he does have a wealth of experience, and I think we talked about that at the last board meeting, and I will meet with him tomorrow, so I look forward to that. I just want to bring up another thing, Rosalva Segura, who works with Los Listos, but also works with the migrant office, and also works in running the Hatch Eagle Club. Last week, there were over 50 kids in attendance from the Hatch Eagle Club and what seemed like hundreds of families. And it was a wonderful event, a lot of music, a lot of dancing, a lot of celebration. Those kids having so much fun. I was so happy that Ms. Segura and Dr. Bhatia and Mr. Contreras and Brian, and let me count all the people who have contributed to that. That was just really super exciting. And then they ended with tortas, which looked delicious. And so I was leaving and Leticia was coming. So thank you for coming the other night, Dr. Bhatia. I'm also very grateful for this board, for their tenacity and their persistence. You have been, for me, a guiding force these last 3 years to try to keep me anchored in us doing the work we need to do for continuous improvement for students and a focus on equity and sustainability. But all of that is only made possible from us humanizing, coming together, and treating each other kindly. And So I thank everyone who has done that, and in particular, I want to thank Ms. Acosta here for keeping me honest. I often say that Rosie is my conscience and reminds me of things I need to do and things I should do and things that I should tend to, so I thank you. Last week, of course, we had employee appreciation, all different sites. I heard about all kinds of things happening for our teachers and our employees. And at district office, we had one of our employees able to have a taquiza and have tacos for everybody. And I needed to be reminded that we needed to do that. So I thank Stig and Rosie for saying, Sean, remember, it's your time to buy us all tacos. So, and so I thank Jaime Rico for making that happen for us too. I see, I should have invited you all. Yeah, next year I'm going to pay more for these tacos. Anyway, so Jorge and Stig, thank you for helping us set up, and Rosie, thank you for helping us set up today. This was no mean feat. I want to thank the guys here, Jordan and Jason from Pacifica TV, that we haven't had a Pacifica TV with us in a long time, so thank you for making this available for us. And look, Josefina, thank you for being here for translating, but it doesn't look like your services will be needed, so if you need to go home, I totally understand that too. Did I miss anybody in the room? I see this guy in the back, Fabio. So Fabio, thank you for coming. Always nice to see you. That's the reason why we're here. Bless you. Sarah, congratulations, and we wish you well. And I'll stop there. I just want to say in May, I am grateful, and let's get on with the show.
All right, that wraps it up. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. Let's move on to our consent agenda tonight. We have 12 items on this. Could I get a motion in a second, please?
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Sophia. And because we have a resolution on the consent agenda, we need to do roll call.
Okay.
Mary Beth?
Hold on one second. I just want to make sure, is there any discussion or questions on it? No? Okay, go ahead, Rosie.
Mary Beth?
Aye.
Freya?
Aye.
Sophia?
Aye.
Kimberly?
Aye.
Lisette? Sarah?
Aye.
Thank you. 5+1. Thank you.
Thanks, Rosie. Okay, moving on to general business. First up, we have a presentation, Hatch Elementary School site presentation. Is that Dr. Bhatia? Oh, I don't know why I'm Hatch. I don't know.
Ms. Jaramillo and Mr. Robles will be presenting their presentation tonight.
Thank you all for joining us today. Muy buenas tardes, yo soy el señor Robles y hoy me acompaña la señora Jaramillo. Antes de empezar, quería agradecer a nuestra comunidad latina y a hispanohablante. No sé si esta presentación se va a traducir al español, pero quiero que ustedes sepan que para nosotros ustedes son muy importantes y los apreciamos mucho. I was just giving a thank you to our Spanish-speaking community, and letting them know that if they're joining online, we really appreciate them. Before we do begin, I do want to take a quick point of personal privilege. I'm really grateful again with this board, especially. The last time I presented, it was in August, I believe, or September, and I was pleasantly surprised to find that you were all recognizing September as Hispanic Heritage Month. And today there's a moment, when the universe just smiles on you and you're just like, wow, that's great. And I'm really thankful to be here today and know that as a queer individual, you are all going to recognize June as LGBTQ month. So thank you so much for that. Again, thank you. I am Mr. Robles. This is Ms. Jaramillo. We are here to discuss Hatch, and I am very pleased to announce that Ms. Jaramillo is back, and she will begin the presentation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Robles. You have done a wonderful job taking care of Hatch while I was gone, and I look forward to many years working by your side. También les quiero agradecer a todos que están viniendo a nuestra junta, que son hispanohablantes. Ojalá que puedan ver también la presentación. In our presentation today, we will begin with a school overview. Then we will discuss our assessments, some California dashboard school overview information. Then Mr. Robles will take over and he will discuss some enrichment and learning opportunities that we have here at Hatch. He will go over our SIPSA overview, which will include 3 GLOws or successes that we've had, and 1 GROW or an area of improvement that we would like to continue to work on. And then he also has a few other special things that happen at Hatch that he will show you at the end. So our school Hatch is located in Half Moon Bay near the Highway 1, and it's just a short walk from the beach. We are fortunate to house 2 elementary programs. We have our Spanish dual language immersion program and our traditional program. Our school supports over 500 TK through 5th grade students as they grow academically. We are very grateful for the great support we have from our community partners, and together we strive to make Hatch Elementary School a student-focused and dynamic place of learning. At Hatch Elementary, we give various assessments. These are our formal assessments that we give. Of course, there are many more that are given throughout the year by our teachers. For our English language arts, that includes our Brigance testing, Fountas and Pinnell, and Lexia. Most of these are given throughout the year, but the Brigance is at the beginning. For Spanish language arts, we have Fountas and Pinnell, and we use iStation, which is a wonderful program online that the students use for monthly assessments. And then for our math program, we use Bridges as our curriculum, and that embeds assessments throughout the year. Of course, our 3rd through 5th graders also complete the state testing for CASP. We started last week with our 3rd through 5th immersion students who are doing the Spanish language testing. That is already complete. This week, we started the English language arts assessments for 3rd through 5th grade for both programs. And next week, we will continue with math. And then our 5th graders will take the science state test as well. This is a snapshot of who attends Hatch according to the California dashboard information. Our school is made up of 350 Hispanic students, 171 white students. We have about 20 students who are in 2 or more races, 14 students who are Asian or Pacific Islander, and that makes about 563 students from that sample. Of our students, 37.3% are English language learners, 1.4% are people without homes. We have 51.2% of our students who are socioeconomically disadvantaged, and 10.7% are students with disabilities. And I will pass over the mic to Mr. Robles.
Thank you, Ms. Aramillo. Some of the enrichment learning opportunities that we have at Hatch include ALAS, which is a program that is run by one of our community partners, and they have various sessions at our school, which have included music, dance, and visual art. Kinder Movement is another program we have for TK through 3rd graders, which is like PE, but more adapted to the needs of our younger students. We also have the HEAL project for students in grades 2nd to 3rd grade, which is focused on gardening. We have band for our upper grades. Music for minors is for all grades. Art in Action, which is run by our volunteer parents, is also for all grades. And we were fortunate this year to have the Junior Sheriff's Activity League joining us during our 4th and 5th grade recess every Thursday to help inspire our students and to help support our campus as well. So some of our SIPSA glows include our use of after-school intervention being offered in various classrooms. As we all know, this year, unfortunately, due to COVID, we weren't able to have a full-site homework club because of expectations surrounding how many people can be in one room. So various teachers, various staff members were able to take advantage of some of the SIPSA funds we had available and were able to host after-school programs in their own classes for their students. We also were able to provide time paid time for additional collaboration and preparation for many of our teachers, which was very much appreciated. And we were also able to provide enriching digital presentations and programs. We did have one presentation that I was really excited about. One of my friends is an archaeologist in Guatemala, and she was able to present in Spanish to our 4th and 5th grade students in immersion, and that was lovely. We also have different programs that are available for our students to help enrich learning as well. One of our grows, of course, is we want to make sure our students continue to achieve on CASP and that we achieve even more, especially in English, language arts, and in math. There are a few celebrations that we have here at Hatch, especially that are focused on education. Oceans Week is a wonderful week of celebration where students learn about different aspects related to the ocean. There's a different focus for each grade level. We have Readathon and Young Authors Week, which is occurring right now. As we know, Ms. Cortez will be joining us tomorrow as well to read to some of the classrooms. So we have community readers, we have authors who come and present to our students. We have all kinds of different activities related to reading. Tomorrow, we're also excited to have our Dress as Your Favorite Book Character Day. So we'll definitely be celebrating that as well. We have our science fair, which was put together by Mr. Phelps. We thank him for all of his work with that. And this year, we're also really happy to celebrate our President's Fair. One of our teachers, Miss Stadelmeyer, she put together an event where students researched, our third grade students researched different presidents, and they presented the information to different classrooms, and it was a fantastic event. And now we have time for questions, if any of you have any questions for us.
This is a presentation item, so yeah, any questions, go ahead.
Yo no tengo preguntas, más que nada tengo mucho que agradecerles por todo el trabajo que están haciendo y realmente para mí en lo personal es sumamente importante que hablen el idioma que es la mayoría de las familias a las que asisten a esa escuela. So, muchas gracias por todo y muchas gracias por no nada más hablar el idioma, pero también saber las necesidades, ya que están trabajando con esta comunidad. Muchísimas gracias. Y gracias por la presentación, estuvo muy, muy bonita. Gracias.
A usted, señora Cortés. Y también quiero decir que tenemos mucho orgullo. Daniel y yo, nosotros dos hemos sido maestros de inmersión antes. Y eso es una gran ventaja para nuestra comunidad, para nuestra escuela, con el programa de inmersión. Es algo muy importante,
Sí.
que vamos a entender el programa, poder apoyar a los maestros y también a los niños.
Y a los padres, es muy importante a los padres porque no nos olvidemos que parte de la educación también viene con el apoyo que tienen en la casa y el hecho de que hablan el idioma, uno como padre que habla el español, se siente que puede ser parte de esa escuela. No digo que es necesario, pero como ayuda y la realidad es de que se siente uno más bienvenido. So, muchísimas gracias, porque entre más chiquitos los agarremos y los ayudemos, vamos a poder ayudarlos y prevenir cosas para el futuro. Muchísimas gracias.
Tiene mucha razón. Gracias.
I just said thank you.
If I actually may translate, I did just want to share with the board, I'm not sure if everyone's aware, but this is a wonderful opportunity for Hatch that Mr. Robles and I are able to lead the school together. We both are previous Spanish immersion teachers, and we're very lucky that we are able to work together at Hatch to really be able to support our community, our students, our staff, and like Ms. Cortez said, definitely our families as well. And we're very grateful for that benefit that we can both offer.
I just want to thank you for the presentation, of course, and thank you. It sounds like the Eagle Club party the other day. I'm so bummed I missed it because I couldn't go, but and thank you to Rosalba as well for working together with all of you to make that, to get 50 kids and families of those 50 kids-ish to a party after school, like especially right now, is incredible. So I just want to, and I'm sure a big part of it is your biculturalism and your biliteracy and your ability to be able to reach out to families and make them feel comfortable. And that's so huge for the success of our kids. So I want to really thank you for that. And I'll be there tomorrow as well, bright and early to read. I think it's probably my third year in a row or something. Last year was Zoom, which was weird, but cool that we did it anyway. But I'm really looking forward to being on campus and seeing the kids again. So thank you. See you tomorrow.
Thank you so much. I know we're lucky to have quite a few of you joining us tomorrow, and we will be Elephant and Piggy from the Mo Williams books if you don't recognize us tomorrow. Ese es el libro que vamos a leer.
Well, as a volunteer, the Hatch Library, usually every week. The last couple of weeks have been a little bit disruptive, but I love putting away those books because the kids love them, so there's always a stack of them to put away. So I'm like, oh, the W's, chunk, and it's like half the shelf is like populated. They're good.
Okay, any more questions? Thank you very much. We appreciate hearing about Hatch.
Thank you all.
All right. Next up, we have presentation and approval of Universal Transitional Kindergarten Plan. Dr. Bhatia. Sorry, I jumped the gun earlier on that.
Is this turned on? Yes. Good evening, President Alexander, Governing Board, community, and colleagues. So I'm here today to, it's exciting time in public education. This is the first time that, at least in my 20-ish years of being in public education, that California is adding an entire grade level. So we're shifting over the next 4 years. Instead of being a K-12, we're going to soon be a TK through 12. So I'm very excited here to talk to you about our transitional kinder plan. Oh, and I have the little clicker here, don't I? So this slide here will tell you, you're going to see two words interchange, UPK and UTK. UPK, Universal Pre-K, Preschool, Pre-Kindergarten, and Universal Transitional Kindergarten. So Universal Pre-Kindergarten, it consists of 4 different items. One of them is basically preschool, and preschool can be seen in 3 different ways. Preschool, private preschool, it could be seen as CSPP, and we hold some CSPP programs here at Cabrillo Unified. Also Head Start. We do have a Head Start at Moonridge, in our Moonridge community. But it also includes what previously and currently is known as TK, Transitional Kinder, and now that's shifting to Universal Transitional Kinder. So all 4 of those types of preschool programs that serve 4-year-olds are altogether Universal Pre-Kindergarten. Our presentation today, and in the package, you are going to see our Universal Transitional Kindergarten Plan. So today in the presentation, we'll mainly focus on the purple circle, which is the Universal Transitional Kindergarten. And this slide here will talk to you about the UTK age eligibility. We are starting UTK expansion next academic school year, 22-23, where over the last approximately decade, I would say, public schools have been serving students, 4-year-olds, in transitional kindergarten, whose 4-year-olds whose 5th birthday occurs September 2nd through December 2nd. So starting next academic year, that window is going to add 2 months, and we will begin to serve transitional kinder student 4-year-olds whose birthday occurs between September 2nd through February 2nd. Over the course of the next 4 years, until 2025-26, the goal would be to add 2 months and expand that window 2 months at a time until in 2025-26, we offer TK to all 3-year-olds who turned 4 by September 1st. And that's when we would make the full transition by adding that full TK grade level. It is a slow transition. I do also want to point out that by 23-24, the state is giving opportunities for our educators, both for our multiple subject credential teachers who may want to explore a credential in early childhood education, an ECE credential. You're going to hear that ECE stands for early childhood education. But also, the state is also giving opportunities for our classified and CSEA representatives who may want to explore early childhood ed credits, or early childhood educators who may want to receive a multiple subject early childhood credential. So again, super exciting times. In the board memo, you do have like kind of a little overview of the budget and some of the grant opportunities that we are currently applying for. And over the course of the next year, we definitely will keep everyone posted on the grants that hopefully we'll be receiving in the future. And this slide just mentions it is a requirement now. The intent of the legislation is to ensure that we close that equity gap and we offer free preschool or free education for students who are 4. And did want to point out that families do have the option to keep their children in the other 3, the universal pre-kindergarten plans in their current preschool, and they can also opt in to be served in public schools. The goal here, and this is something that with the support of our amazing Rosalba Segura and the team, and Dr. McFetridge and or Josefina, we're looking into building a day where TK students, with a combination of our certificated teachers as well as our expanded learning and staff that serves our Eagle Club, offer a student day of no less than 9 hours. And so we are working, and we'll be working towards the summer to ensure that we give our parents those opportunities to keep their TK students with us with a combination of enrichment as well as core academics. And this slide, you're going to see the various elements that our UTK plan consists of. It consists of our projection of student enrollment with the help of California Department of Ed. I know that they did send Dr. McFetridge an estimate that was very close to mine, but we're going to see how that's going to really play out, because currently I think we're at about 60% of that estimate. And it also includes the coherence of TK all the way, or UTK all the way up to 3, community engagement and partnerships. We've been very fortunate to be a Big Lift district. With the Big Lift Collaborative, we have maintained a positive communication and collaboration with all our partners to see how we can support serving our students that full 9-hour day. I do also want to give a shout out to our UTK committee. We have, similar to VAPA, we have been meeting over the past a year and a half, knowing that this legislation was coming up. And they have been instrumental in really forming this plan that we're proposing tonight. Also, the curriculum instruction and assessment, the state, we did apply for funding, and we hope that we can really delve deeper into the curriculum and the assessments. And we have requested with San Mateo County Office of Ed to align the Brigance assessment that measures language and kinder readiness for TK. So we will continue to work on this throughout the summer. And again, Ronaldo and of course, amazing Jesus Contreras that we miss dearly. Our team has already been looking at facilities currently for the 22-23 school year, and we feel very confident of having those facilities ready to serve our students. But we also are looking into expanding TK hub at El Granada, similar to the TK hub and pre-K hub that is currently exists at Hatch. And here you are going to see the staffing options. And there are a couple of more, but these were the 2 main options that we feel will work here at Cabrillo Unified. And so this is different than kinder. In TK, part of the new plan and that merge with the early childhood education world is that we, anytime a class is over 10 students, they are giving us a grace year of allowing us to have 12, but our committee, we really want to start with a 10, because starting in 2023, that's going to be the new requirement, and we really just want to start with that instead of having that year. So our recommendation is to start 20 students in one class, and the legislation says for every 10 students, you need 1 adult. And so anytime you go over the 10, you will need a full-time second adult in the classroom, one of the adults being a multiple subject TK teacher. The second adult can have different credentials. However, our team does feel that because we do have a strong preschool and an early childhood education program, we want to make that second adult an early childhood educator, or have somebody who is interested in receiving those 24 credits of early childhood ed. Now, we may have sometimes the case where we may not have all of the students, so we have that other option at the top where we might have 1 full-time multiple subject teacher with no more than 10 students. And I do want to also point out that we're super excited at Hatch to be offering our first UTK bilingual, or TK bilingual. So this is definitely going to help with the enrollment as we continue to support our dual bilingual pathways here at Cabrillo.
Okay. So I'm not going to go into details, but we basically, this is the projected enrollment that can also be found in the plan. But as you can see, we are estimating basically doubling up approximately over the next 4 years in our TK classrooms. And we feel very confident in serving our TK students next academic year, but we are going to need some facility support and as well as continue to recruit for staffing for the 23-24 academic year. And as I mentioned, currently we are looking at the 2 sites, our 2 largest elementary sites, it's being the TK hubs for the district, El Granada and Hatch. And again, projected facilities, CSPP classrooms, we are partnering with Coastside Children's Center as well as our current Los Listos. As we continue to expand, we do anticipate CSPP classrooms serving TK students, but we do anticipate probably the majority of our families wanting to have their TK-age students, UTK-age students to come to Cabrillo Unified, but also partner with our local CSPPs for that expanded learning as well. And I did mention earlier, and just wanted to point out that we are applying for a UPK facilities grant. This was presented April 21, and this could potentially be a $3 million grant that will support us in the facilities expansion for TK. And again, Jesus Contreras did all of the legwork for this, so really appreciate that. And I know Rinaldo is supporting us and already writing that into some of the construction plans for El Granada Elementary School. We talked about that, and here is again our vision that I've mentioned. We want to ensure that we expand and we offer and serve our 4-year-olds. And when we look at interventions, what all of the research says when you're looking at literacy, the best time for us to really teach language and construct a good intervention is the younger grades. So we feel that the focus on TK and early childhood ed is really going to support our English language learners, our students who are performing below grade level, and that's the reason why we are trying to add early childhood ed experts who have that background in language and learning, both for social and academic. And that really is at the core of our program. Also, play-based learning. There's a lot of research currently that mentions that play-based learning is, and making sure that our students know how the social skills through partners, through projects, hands-on learning projects, and then also making sure that we have our teachers that are credentialed and have that background for early childhood education. And community engagement and partnership, just wanted to let you know that we have reached out to our multiple community organizations such as ELAC and DLAC, and we'll continue to reach out to ensure that our communities know that this program is available. So all of this work will continue to happen in May. I know we did get some advice from our Latinx roundtable in regards to communication efforts that will continue to happen throughout the summer so that we can ensure that all of our families know that this opportunity is available for them. Staffing and professional development, here are some of the options that we're looking at, including a summer TK Institute for some of our teachers or any teacher that may be interested in the future receiving the early childhood ed piece of the TK credential. I did something. Staffing and professional development, as you can see here, the visual to the left, that's where you see early childhood ed, preschool, foundations, and kindergarten all meeting in the middle to ensure that we're able to support that language and that individualized instruction. And we also need to make sure that we look and meet our language learners that are coming in and set up those intervention systems early on, in mainly making sure that we have appropriate developmentally appropriate assessments so that we can measure where the gaps are so that we can intervene earlier on. And again, super exciting. This is the first time we will have 2 adults to 20 students. And so I am confident that we're going to see some gains in the next few years because of this UTK program. Talked about facilities. This also includes the universal meal program and same supplies and materials that we're offering our K through 12. The same model will be duplicated for TK. And we'll continue to, like Rosalba has been doing, continue to reach out to all of our families to get involved and understand where their needs are, so that we can form that partnership with our families and our staff. And talked about also the UTK playground at El Granada. This is an area that, again, over the summer, Ronaldo and our team is going to meet with him, because currently we don't have an age-appropriate playground at El Granada, but we're going to be working towards figuring if we do receive grant funding, or if part of the El Granada construction plan can afford a similar playground that's currently at Hatch, for us to replicate that at El Granada to ensure that our students do have that area, that age-appropriate play structure as we move forward. And that is it for me. Do you have any questions for me regarding TK? And there are more details in the plan, so you can feel free to ask questions about the plan as well.
I don't have any questions more than what a breath of fresh air. I mean, talk about the learning loss, and then having this presented is just very hopeful and inspiring, and thank you for doing this. Having the 9 hours, for some people it sounds like a lot, but when you look at the socioeconomically disadvantaged children who are in high percentage in our schools sometimes, and it also goes along with English language learners as well. I mean, some people, I know there was a time where we were talking about extended kinder, and some parents were not, were saying it was too long and it was more of a child care thing because the children are tired. But when you give them, it doesn't have to be, it has to be just exposure to simple things like books and games and scissors and art material. And it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be 9 hours of you sit down and you have to follow directions. I could see that being tiring, but as a parent where I was in that situation where I couldn't afford regular, these programs that were enriching, and I had to pay someone to, take care of my child in their living room, because that's the reality of a lot of people, and even more so now with the economy being the way that it is. So thank you so much. Muchísimas gracias. Y estoy casi segura que el momento que la comunidad se entere de esto, van a venir corriendo, porque es algo tan importante y es algo que se ha necesitado por muchos años. So, muchísimas gracias por todo el trabajo que has hecho, Leticia. Muchas gracias.
Definitely a team effort. No lo hice sola, porque sola no puedo hacer nada, pero con grupo sí.
No lo puedes hacer sola, pero sí se ocupa una persona para dirigir el grupo, y yo creo que eso es lo que tú has hecho. Claro que no, yo sé que estas cosas no se hacen de la noche a la mañana y no se hacen con una sola persona, pero sí se hacen con una persona que tiene la visión y que va a dirigir al grupo a esa visión. Y yo sé que esto es algo que tú has estado hablando por muchos años, y estar viéndolo ya en papel y en una realidad es algo realmente que, o sea, muchísimas gracias. Gracias por todo. I just said thank you.
Hi, I just wanted to say thank you also. And I realize we may need to tweak our VAPA plan just slightly to include the UTK.
Yes, that is a draft mode, yes.
But seriously, it's, I realize it's intervention in a sense that we're giving students opportunities and rich experiences that they might not get at home, but that's foundational. And so how we use our language, it's not corrective, it's just foundation. And you spoke to the learning during play. It's all these rich and wonderful experiences. Every time you have an experience, you're building neurons. And so thank you very much for your presentation.
I just want to remind everybody, either get your microphone closer to you or get closer to your microphone.
How's that? Thank you as well, Leticia, and also to second what Lizette said. It can seem like when we hear 9 hours for a little kid, it seems like a lot, but the fact is that many kids do have that privilege and that opportunity, but it costs a lot, right? So when working families have to have their kids somewhere while they're working, they could be in less than ideal circumstances, as Lizette described, or they can be in a really truly enriching environment. And I'm really excited that as a state, we're expanding that. I mean, that's historic to basically say it's now 4 and up, or we're getting to the point where it'll be 4 and up that we're supporting kids in age appropriate ways. So thank you for that. I had a quick question, the CSPP, can you and I appreciate that you had all that for context, like the Head Start and CS, the California State program.
California State preschool, and actually Los Listos receive some CSPP funds.
Okay.
They're multi-funded through my grant, CSPP and Big Lift. And then our Coastside Children's Center, they're 100% CSPP funding, as well as, I guess it's on a scale depending on the family income. And so that's kind of the CSPP world. And then the Head Start world may receive some state funding, but it's a separate type of preschool program. And then private schools, of course, have their, there could be a home private school, home daycare, or we do have quite a few private preschools here in this community as well. But yes, I do want to talk about CSPP as well, because again, thanks to Rosalva and her knowing the CSPP world. Yes, I know a little bit, but she knows a lot more than me. But what I do understand is that for the expanded part, for the 9 hours, and again, a parent has a choice to have their child stay the 9 hours or pick them up after the core instruction. And so CSPP funding as a district will be applying for that expanded. We don't know what that amount is because it works a little different. That I do know, which is always a little bit stressful for our CBOs, because the kids come first and then they refund us after in 6 months. So they need to see the bodies in the seat. But CSPP will be supporting some of the 9 hour day, not our TK core, but the after school piece, the enrichment piece. And it's California State Preschool. I don't know what the second P means, but it's California State Preschool funding. And the San Mateo County Office of Ed, they are the district, they're the county supports districts who receive CSPP funding. But also, so the county supports Coastside Children's Center because we see their leaders in the meetings as well. Did that make sense?
Sorry.
I hope I explained it okay.
Totally made sense. Yeah, totally made sense. And just on the funding side, just to confirm my understanding, because we are a basic aid or community funded district and we are not funded by pupil, we're taking on these students at no additional LCFF revenue, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
That at this time.
And
we
granted,
don't know
that'll
if
be theoretically offset by a declining enrollment in upper grades, but just to be clear, we don't get extra per pupil funding for these
correct.
students.
At
So
this time,
the same money. Okay.
That is correct.
Okay.
Except CSPP piece.
Except the CSPP piece.
Because if we start applying for CSPP, we will get some revenue through CSPP.
Yes.
And
So
at this time, the Big Lift have not said anything about the funding piece as well, but we just see it as as the best intervention that we can possibly give students, where we try to close that gap where the gap is smaller when you're comparing students coming in versus us waiting till middle or high school when the gap has gone so large, it's very hard to intervene.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like regardless, we're looking to make smart investments and, an investment in kids early in their career, their educational career makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, I'll say with the big asterisk that we'll see tomorrow, what the governor says about his his proposed budget and see how things go if we stay community funded.
I think that's an important point. There's a lot of advocacy by AXA and by California Association of California School Administrators and California School Boards Association up and down the state to get basic aid funding at parity for LCFF. A lot of basic aid districts, such as ours, are barely basic aid. So we will see where that goes. If the argument is if the state wants this to happen and it's the big push, then they should pay for it to happen for all kids. And it's kind of crazy to think, yeah, we're a basic aid district, but you just saw the Hatch presentation and the socioeconomically disadvantaged number. So, yeah, we'll wait and see, but we do think this is an important investment in young people and their families. And, you know, better an ounce of prevention than a pound of cure. I think there is an aspect of this too where you might see fewer needs for interventions going forward. So we think this is a wonderful thing.
So just also want to, triple or quadruple the thank you to you and your team who's worked really hard on this, it sounds like, over this last year to implement this. So thank you, Leticia, appreciate it. And also thanks to the state for passing this, because the TK never really made sense with the little bit that they had. They had the oldest kids from the next year coming in for an extra year, and it just never really made sense. So finally, it's rational from a state point of view as well. I had just a really quick question about whether or not there will ever be, and sometimes there's been split classes before between TK and K, and in this program, will it just be then always just straight TK? And I just love that there's that early childhood development in the play and all of that as well.
So yes, it is a local decision to split. But again, Dr. McFetridge's support of early childhood education and also supporting the recommendation of our TK group, our TK collaborative, we're recommending that we, and this started actually last year when we were looking at kinder expansion, where a request from our kinder teachers as well as our TK teachers to keep TK and K pure, no combos. So again, where it's the vision of Dr. McFetridge and our teams to invest in early childhood education, because it's super difficult to manage combo class TKK or KN1. And so although, so that is our, that's what we would like to support as we move forward, to keep them non-combo classes, TK and K.
All right, thank you, Dr. Bhatia.
And I think I'm going to stay here because I'm next.
You just stay there.
Do we need, it says presentation and approval. Does the plan need to be approved, Dr. Bhatia?
It does not need to be approved. It just needs to be presented to the board. But
thank you to our elementary school principals who are headed out. Bless you.
But you can approve it if you, I mean, it's not, it can be either. If we need to approve it,
I think we also approved it in the consent agenda. There was an item.
That's right. It did come in the consent agenda. I'm just checking with Dr. Bhatia because we agendized it, or we titled it.
It was in the consent.
It is
so we can
as
approve it. It doesn't need to be approved, but we can approve it, I'm sure.
Well, there is a resolution. The
Less is
first
more.
resolution was adoption of resolution number 12, 2022, approving the transitional kindergarten expansion plan. So if that does it, we're good.
Yes, that does it.
Okay.
Okay, our next item is update on CUSD's Visual Arts and Performing Arts Master Plan Draft. And this is an action item. Take it away, Dr. Bhatia.
Okay, so again, I want to say, good evening, everyone, again. I do want to just thank Kim, Lisette, and Dr. McFetridge, especially our VAPA team that met for nearly almost 2 years in the midst of COVID. And Bill and Michelle Holt, who was instrumental. She's a San Mateo County Office of Ed VAPA coordinator, who really led us in taking a look at other VAPA master plans, seeing where we are, and we're here to present to you the draft for approval. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna make sure I don't. Maybe it's not working, Rosie. Oh, there we go. So I want to start off by reading this quote from Michelle Obama, who I think this quote is very aligned to our equity statement. As I've said many times before, arts education is not a luxury. It's a necessity. It's really the air many of these kids breathe. It's how we get kids excited about getting up and going to school in the morning. It's how we get them to take ownership of their future. And most importantly, is how we get them to go to college. And Lisette, you mentioned this. Many of our families, and the largest percentage that we have here in our community is Hispanic, Latino, but even larger, I think at around 55% is socioeconomically disadvantaged families. And it's expensive for a piano class. It is expensive to put your child in singing classes and acting classes and summer enrichment. And so, particularly now post-COVID and the gaps that we're seeing and the need that we're seeing from our students around social emotional supports, VAPA supports that. It takes kids to a different world, either through music or through hands-on experiences with the arts. So just wanted to share that quote because I feel, again, our VAPA master plan is embedded in equity. In this quote, it really resonated with me. Here, I did just want to share the vision. We did take a look at the San Mateo County Office of Ed strategic plan. I know, Kim, you and I attended right before COVID, I remember, the in-person presentation from San Mateo County Office of Ed of their VAPA master plan. So I'll just read the vision. Every student in San Mateo County Public School receives an engaging, impactful arts education delivered by high-quality instructors. So there is a hyperlink to their strategic plan, and I know this is super small, so I'm not going to even attempt to have you or I read it, but the link here on this slide will give you access to their brochure, which really shows the journey and shows how the VAPA master plan came about, as well as their goals and the value. So here, I did pull this information, which talks about the data, and it talks about how they did some research and asked and interviewed chief CEOs, chief executive officers, and many of those CEOs and many of the people that are successful were exposed significantly to visual arts and performing arts as a child and were successful. There's also research that mentions that visual arts and performing arts also reinforces second language acquisition and supports our English learners. Now, I'm not going to take too much time because I know I have presented this piece before about a year ago, but I did want to just share and have this available to the public as well, what our current VAPA programs are, because I really want to spend more time into what the vision is as we move forward. And so here, we do have different levels of visual arts and performing arts in elementary and secondary. Sorry about that. In elementary and secondary, we also have all of these different levels of performing arts in elementary and secondary. Many of our visual arts and performing arts opportunities have been supported by our PTOs. And again, a vision of Dr. McFetridge and also Jesus Contreras is to really start bringing back the core and start making sure that all of our students get access to services such as visual arts and performing arts. Because as we did this research, we noticed that there was an unequal amount of services at some sites. So some sites had more visual arts and performing arts, some sites had less, some sites had a K-5 service, some sites only had K-1. And then, of course, music too. I do want to say that we do have a very strong visual arts and performing arts, but as we move forward, and as you can see in the master plan, our goal is, again, embedded in equity, and our goal is to ensure that we offer equal services across the board. And number two, build strong CTE pathways so that we can feed our current pathways that exist in middle and high school, both in the visual and performing arts. So thank you, Lisette and Kim. I know that you did provide this amazing quote here. So I know I'll take an excerpt from the quote, if that's okay. So, a music or an art class may be what motivates a student to get up in the morning. Not all children have access to the arts outside of school. As a community, institutional investment in visual and performing arts is essential for Cabrillo Unified School District. High-quality instruction in the arts must be woven into the school day and to be intentionally planned for K-12. So thank you again, Lisette and Kim, for just your continued support in visual arts and performing arts, and making sure that it is not only a section, but it's integrated into all of the curriculum across TK through 12. And Dr. McFetrich, thank you so much. I know that you attended our Little Shop of Horrors play as well. So again, I'll take an excerpt from our superintendent. Okay, as a district, we are envisioning how arts education can be integrated throughout the school day in elementary, K-5 grades, and secondary 6-12 grades. As we work to strengthen teaching and learning to meet our district goal of developing the whole child, we look forward to new opportunities to support the creativity of children through visual and performing arts instruction. So again, Dr. McFetrich, thank you for your support. We know that visual arts and performing arts, we have limited funding. The state gives us very limited funding. But again, thank you, Dr. McFetrich, for supporting our LCAP in making sure that we also set aside some local control accountability plan, LCFF funds, into the visual arts. Okay, so I do want to take time just to talk about the 4 commitments that are embedded in our VAPA plan. One is access and equity. We want to ensure that we close those gaps and we provide every single child, no matter which school they are attending, with equal access to VAPA opportunities. Also important in our committee, we need to ensure that our programs are culturally relevant for the students in our community, and not necessarily, like we do know, we have mainly Hispanic, Latino, of Mexican descent, but we also have other cultures that are represented in our community, so we want to ensure that we become as inclusive as possible as we continue to explore continue to offer culturally relevant and expand those offerings for students. Also, our 3rd commitment is a rigorous arts education program for all students that is embedded in the core curriculum, that our students not only receive a section or a visiting artist, but that the arts are integrated throughout the core content. Lastly, and important around the social emotional learning is a commitment to an arts learning program that empowers student voice and expression. Now here you are going to see what our proposed services are. And we're proposing that for 30 weeks, all TK through 3rd grade students receive a minimum of 30 minutes of visual arts a week and 30 minutes of performing arts a week for those 30 weeks. There are about 37 weeks in an academic school year, so we want to give some leeway to opening and closing of school assessments. And particularly in 4th and 5th, 45 minutes. We do know that the day is longer for our 4th and 5th grade students, but I do want to say that we are currently talking to Music for Minors, and they are getting ready to finalize their proposal that is definitely centered around equity, culturally relevant learning, the standards, as well as cost efficient. So Music for Minors is one organization that we're looking at. We will continue. Art in Action is a second, and we're also currently, as Kim and Lisette know, we are looking into online curriculum for visual arts and performing arts, where teachers can easily get access to lessons and resources that are easily implemented and embedded into the class. You can't see it here, but there is the proposal of having a 1.0 FTE of a visual arts and performing arts teacher on special assignment in elementary. At this time for next year, 22-23, we're not, sorry about that. We are not able to, we don't have the funding set aside for this upcoming year, but possibly in the next 3 years. The VAPA master plan it's these proposed services are our goal for the next 3 years. And we are going to reach some of the proposed services, but the goal is to continue to look out for grants and explore partnerships that are aligned to the Common Core state standards and that also are fiscally feasible. Thank you for fixing that, Rosie. Middle school proposed services, we are, and I do want to say that you see the little asterisk, those are the current offerings at middle school. But I do want to say, as Cunha is finalizing their master plan, they are looking into embedding art as part of their WHEEL program. So I shared this with the middle school team, and we're looking at starting to add and increase the VAPA access to students. Here also, in the bottom that you can't see, but it talks about a full-time music teacher, VAPA teacher, and we are going to be able to fulfill this for the upcoming year at Cunha. And then lastly is our high school. And again, after looking at elementary, middle, and high school was very strong in the visual arts and performing arts. And I do want to say that high school is, it seems that they're getting very close to having a CTE pathway where we have 3 art classes that can count for career tech ed. And so that's one of our goals, is to ensure that we build a CTE pathway at the high school, continue to embed culturally relevant VAPA opportunities, look at the alignment between middle school, and increase the VAPA FTE sections offered at the high school. And again, at some point, which is our dream, is to have also 1 FTE at the Half Moon Bay High School to support the visual arts and performing arts. And that's it, I guess, right? Do you have any questions? Thank you.
This is an action item, so before we go to questions, could I get a motion and a second to approve the VAPA master plan draft?
So moved.
Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Lizette.
Okay, questions for Leticia?
First off, again, thank you for pulling this together and presenting it, and to Kim and Lizette for serving on the committee and all the other members. I think it's great. My one kind of question, and you probably covered it, but for the elementary level in particular, when you're saying 30 minutes, I was just wondering if there was also opportunity for within that curriculum that you're talking about for synthesizing arts and music and drama into other parts of the curriculum? Because I know that there are opportunities to use drama for English language acquisition or for learning to read better or other kinds of things. And that, again, it brings that excitement of kids to also those core subjects as well. So I'm assuming that's kind of there, but I just wanted to highlight that in hope that that's there.
Maybe I can ask, I had a similar thought too, and it occurred to me with the Cunha team as they're fleshing out, kind of revamping the wheel. I think there's an opportunity there as well to align what is being done in art or in drama, which is existing, those two in particular, around the curriculum. We have really great, I'll take 7th grade as an example because I happen to see it a lot at home. But where, the TCI curriculum for social studies is excellent, and it actually has a lot of natural linkages to math, to science, and to visual and performing arts. And so, for example, they were studying, I think a week or 2 ago, about Islam during the Middle Ages, and it was right there about calligraphy. It's there's a perfect connection to have some, in wheel, to have a connection with calligraphy sometime in 7th grade art. Or, they're studying, I think, China now, they're talking about making paper. Somehow we can connect it to those, since we have curriculum in science is really easy too. And I can tell you, I think it was 7th grade, and Mr. Reardon knows I have a soft spot for visual arts. And so that's where a lot of my examples come from. But it was really in 7th grade science where our teacher used to have us draw the grasshopper and the parts inside, and we get to get out our color pencils. I fell in love with art and science, and I feel they're so intertwined where, again, to Freya's point, where the more we can push in the visual and performing arts into other subject areas and have linkages. I think it's easier in the lower grades, linkages with, be it wheel to the curriculum they're studying somewhere else. It's not like, oh, we're studying Three Little Pigs and drama today, but we're doing Islamic history and, pig dissections. Like I think can make a more cohesive experience for kids if we can integrate things into the other subjects as well. So I'll throw Cunha into the mix in addition to Freya's examples.
So yes, what I showed you was the kind of designated, and I'm sorry, I think it skipped a slide, but I'll read it. It's okay, I'll read it, I'll talk about this. It's the last slide. So basically, our goal, the next steps would be to hire site VAPA leaders that can support with the integration of VAPA for the core. And so we would meet with them monthly, and they would have two kind of roles. For example, the curriculum that we presented, they can curate that and make it really easy for teachers to use it, like through a PowerPoint, and make it super easy where all they have to do is just play. They can make sure that it's aligned to the content, but also they can be there as professional development support to the teachers and to different grade level teams for that integration. But yes, that would be our continued goal. One of them is professional development. We want to ensure that we are increasing VAPA PD so that we can facilitate that integration into the class. And again, also super important, this is, again, the second year that we'll be adding VAPA to the LCAP, but also we want to encourage our principals to add VAPA PD and VAPA goals into their single plans for student achievement.
Just real quick, sorry, one more comment. I also love the connection with the social and emotional and mental health, and I think we're hearing so much about that, and I think often as a school district, we think of things in these little compartments, like here we'll provide mental health services, and then we'll provide X. But I do often think that those kinds of art classes and music classes can actually be that social and emotional support. So I really love that you mentioned that as well. And we're talking about it.
Again, thank you so much for bringing this plan forward. What are the plans for self-evaluation going forward with VAPA?
So with the VAPA leads at the site, we always encourage, again, more qualitative information. We're doing this in the summer where we ask our students, do you like art? Simple questions with it depends what grade, right? If we're dealing with elementary or middle or high, or do you feel that, that you're good at performing arts or visual arts? So it would be some more qualitative questions. And in addition, we do have a new system. It's called Illuminate DNA, where I know that Martha and Stig, and we've had and Giannis, we've had these conversations of, multiple factors affect a student's achievement. So it's very hard to pinpoint just one reason. But for instance, if we can track a cohort of students who are part of the band, for instance, and then we can compare their performance to their colleagues. So that is a 1 to 2 year goal. I know we just adopted the Illuminate DNA, but that is a goal for more of the qualitative data as we move forward. But this summer, I know I have talked to Giannis where we definitely want to track our STEAM students, those 150 students that are receiving STEAM, and then see how is the STEAM program, did it positively affect students? And we know that, so again, it's very hard because some of the students may have other interventions, but that's one way of us tracking the qualitative piece.
Thank you. That's very insightful. One other self-reflective piece would be on the VAPA plan itself. If we could put a reminder, so it's so easy as a district to create a plan, and some of us have lived other plans that went by the wayside with turnover of personnel. If we could just put a hook in to revisit this plan, say May of next year, and so forth, that would help us institutionalize it. I mentioned that I appreciate the language in terms of institutional investment, and that's why Lizette and I spoke at length as we created our joint statement. level funding across the state is not equitable funding in the Bay Area. The funding goes further in Fresno or Visalia to invest in visual and performing arts because just the cost of living is less. But for the Bay Area, we don't have equal funding or equitable funding across the districts. We want to pay our teachers, and we want to have these programs that we know children benefit from, that if it's part of the foundation, if it's part of the core curriculum, our students are going to do better than trying to intervene at a later date. So setting this foundation, I think, is key, and I want to say thank you for all the hard work you've put into this.
Thank you.
I also want to comment on those, the visual performing arts commitments. I think those are really meaningful and impactful, and they should be like on t-shirts everywhere for everything that we do, because, I mean, those are four really important concepts. Access, this is about access and equity. Culturally relevant, can't be understated how, like, it's got to be cool to kids for them to really, like, get into it. It's embedded in the core curriculum, which we spoke about a little bit already, and empowers student voice and expression and gives them, it's less, I love the metaphor about education that's like, it really isn't about carpentry and creating students the way we want them to be, but more about like creating building a garden where they can grow, you know, whether they're a daisy, a sunflower, a rose, or like a cactus, whatever. Like, they're all different. They should be able to grow, like they should be, you know, in an environment that allows them to grow and drive how that looks like. And to me, as we had that great conversation earlier this week about career options and career pathways, and, you know, as we develop more career pathways, it's the same kind of thing. These principles apply, or we think about science, or we think about really any other discipline. I think those are really great principles to keep in mind. So thank you for having them really clear.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. And with that, Rosie, could we take a roll call, please? Aye.
Sorry. Mary Beth?
Aye.
Freya?
Aye.
Sophia?
Aye.
Kimberly?
Aye.
Lisette?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Passes 5+1.
Thank you, Dr. Bhatia. Okay, next up.
Can I just ask a question, point of privilege, I guess I have to say, like, can we take an intermission, like, every so often, just so we can, like, get up and stretch?
Bio break.
I was just thinking after this.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, does that work?
So I'll propose.
I was thinking about it
Yeah,
because you've all
propose.
been asking me about this.
I propose.
But then we were going so good, and I'm like, oh, what's
Okay, so I'll propose
Okay.
it. Rosie, tell me how to
take a
propose
little-
it later.
We'll take a little break
Yeah.
after this. Okay, Dr. McFarland. Oh, adoption of proclamation recognizing June as LGBTQ+ Pride Month. Take it away.
Can you hear me? Okay, good. I'm going to ask Rosie to bring up this proclamation. This is the third year you've done this. I was just talking to superintendents about this the other day and with county council. And superintendents were asking me for this proclamation because what you have done in here is something that is progressive and important. So basically, the district is committed to supporting the dignity, equity, and visibility for all people in the community. And we, as a district in the Coastside region, have a diverse lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and/or community. And many residents, students, family members, and school personnel are part of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and lesbian community.
No.
Okay.
There.
I won't read the whole proclamation. I've been taken. I won't read the whole proclamation because I have been, and I say this with love and joking, but somehow sort of trying to be self-effacing here about reading all these proclamations. Next year, all these proclamations will go to consent, and we will speak about them ahead of the meeting, but they'll probably go to consent so that we can streamline these meetings, because now we've had these proclamations for 3 years. But I think it's important that we end the year with this one, because that last whereas, that fourth whereas, advancements have been made with regard to equitable treatment, but there's still discrimination against people, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, other persons, and they still face discrimination just for being who they are. And so it's important for us, especially when we talk about social, emotional, and just our common humanity, especially in the Bay Area, to stand up and show support. And we did this last month for Asian American Pacific Islander Month and Jewish American Heritage Month. But June is the big month that is recognized as Pride Month. It's symbolic in this country, particularly in the Bay Area, particularly in San Francisco, as a way to advocate and stand in support for people to live their lives out loud. And this year was difficult because of COVID-19, as was last, particularly, to physically come together. But we continue to work with Coast Pride, and we were happy to be at their second birthday. We celebrated their second birthday party at the opening in the Coast Pride Center, and then we celebrated the second birthday this year. This year, again, we will be raising the LGBTQ+ flag, and it's not just the Pride flag that you'll see the history there. That was done in 1978 by Gilbert Baker and a couple of his colleagues. But now we fly the Rainbow Progress flag, and we've seen banners on our campuses, but we've also provided every campus with a Progress flag that sort of talks about the diversity and the intersectionality, particularly with people of color, because people of color really did start the Pride Month and Pride Parade movements. And so this is basically us saying we're going to fly the rainbow flag or the Progress flag at all our campuses. And that was the thing that other superintendents and other districts were asking, Sean, how do you do that? And I say, we proclaim it. We have the board approve it. And then it's government protected speech, because you as government actors can allow us to do it. So with that said, I would recommend approval again for this third year of this proclamation recognizing June as LGBTQ+ Pride Month.
Thank you. This is an action item. Could I get a motion in a second, please?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Sophia.
Second.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board, please?
I just want to comment, thank you again, Sean. I know sometimes people feel like, what does it mean to have a resolution? But to me, it means a lot. To me, it means that we stand as a board to give our community direction, to consider different groups that typically have been historically underrepresented or undervalued or mistreated in different ways. And I think that can happen in the course of that month itself, or it can happen in the course of the year and a different kind of appropriate time, whether we incorporate it into curriculum, whether we incorporate it into PBIS or, social emotional learning, whether we, host, I know this month, the 21st, we're co-hosting with Coast Pride a wellness fair, I think here on Cunha campus as well, whether, we have special events, whatever it is, it's just a reminder to really think thoughtfully about how we integrate and incorporate the principles that are in those proclamations into what we do as we endeavor on growing and educating our students of our community. So I want to just, thank you for continuing to bring these to us every year, and it should continue.
I'll add my thanks. And just to expand on what I mentioned earlier in terms of the rich conversations with Coast Pride this week, when my daughter and I were visiting there, we had an opportunity to reflect on what has happened at our high school campus over the last 10 years. And it is rich and wonderful that we now have mentors that will speak and make the space safe. Some of our conversations reflected on children knowing that they were valued, but it wasn't always overt that it was safe to be who they were. And so to that end, that we continue to grow as a community. This wellness fair obviously is important, but perhaps our leadership teams and classes can take on activities, or just how to have those safe and wonderful conversations, so it's not exclusive to the Gay Straight Alliance group at the high school, but actually having those conversations to know that everybody's valued. So thank you so much, Sean.
Sorry, I just also want to reiterate the appreciation, and second, kind of, I think what was saying a little bit is that we've been doing this now for a couple of years, and the more that we can integrate it and provide resources so that teachers and principals and leadership and everything also can integrate all of these resolutions that we pass. I think it's great. I think we're at that point, probably applicable to our equity audit and all of that as well. I also just thought something and wanted to throw it out there. Now that we're doing these every year, it would be great if we actually had a place where we could fly all the flags all the time, and then maybe just highlight the one for the month. I would love to see it flying all year, as well as the other flags that we've done. Just to throw that out there as an idea.
Lastly, I mean, I echo everybody's sentiment, and to say that this is progressive is an understatement. I mean, it's more than progressive. It's what it's needed, and it's about time. And from a Latino perspective, I think we really need to continue to embrace this and support this, because it embraces what we keep saying that we do. We talk about kindness, we talk about respect, and what a better example to embrace everybody, just, and respect them for who their true essence is, and not judge them or discriminate them. And I think, being Latina, it's even more difficult, because it's a very taboo, and it's shameful. But I'm really hopeful that with more awareness and just being more supportive of these kind of proclamations, and seeing how progressively, it's been 3 years, but it first was just a proclamation, and now it's all of these events and all of these people coming together to really, step forward and do more than just talk about it. It's amazing, and thank you for bringing it up. I appreciate it.
And I just want to put it again, a special shout out to Coast Pride, because I think they've been really a major driver, together with Sean as well, in terms of really integrating this into our community, partnering with ALAS, partnering with PTOs, partnering with our school district to really put this out front for our community to celebrate, and and all its beauty. So thank you to Coast Pride.
I agree with all that. Well said, everyone. Oh, go ahead, Lizette.
Really quick, please don't take it down, because it was taken down. So be kind and leave it up. The banner, please.
What Ms. Cortez is speaking of is that we did have one individual who took down LGBTQ banner in the fall, because of course we celebrate LGBTQ History Month in October, and that did happen. And I think that's a testament too that, the spirit of this is about pride, and it is about celebration, but it is also about recognition of how far we've come and how far yet we have to go. So not everybody agrees with it. I will tell you, last year I had an individual who came to me complaining about the flag code, which is etiquette about having the American flag fly, the California flag fly, and I'll dare say it, how dare you fly that other flag? It is completely within the purview of the board to approve the flag being flown. This proclamation allows for that. And I was able to say to my superintendent colleagues and the county superintendent and county council last week, they said, how do you deal with this? I said, I have a governmental agency, this board of elected representatives, approve it as governmental speech. Now, there are issues where sometimes these flags will be flown elsewhere, and those may be deemed as inappropriate because of the law. But with this proclamation, you are able to say, we celebrate, we acknowledge, we support, and we stand behind. And so thank you very much for approving the proclamation once you vote for it.
Thank you, everyone, for your, oh, go ahead. Oh, she's ready to vote. She wants it. No, I just want to thank everyone for your comments. I think this is a big deal, and I think we take a strong stance on it, and I'm glad we make it a strong stance, because I think it's very important. With that, let's take roll call, please, Rosie.
Mary Beth?
Aye.
Freya? Aye. Thank you. Sophia?
Aye.
Kimberly?
Aye.
Lisette?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Passes 5+1.
Can we do a short bio break? What do we need to do that?
You would, at this point, just say the board will take a break, a recess. I do not believe a vote is required in parliamentary procedure for a recess.
Yeah, okay.
So the board will take a...
It's okay to say.
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to formalize it, but...
No, let's take a recess.
Yeah, we'll be back, yeah.
In 5 minutes or 10?
And I will try to find a restroom on that.
It is open now.
Oh, it is open.
Okay.
By the gym. Okay, girls
10
are by
minutes.
the gym.
Okay, we'll see you when you get back. And then this is going to be short wrap up, I swear, when we come back.
We are on general business, item 5E, adoption of resolution 13-2022, establishing a tax rate for bonds for fiscal year 2022-23.
Okay, well, the next three items I think are going to be pretty quick, but and I'll try to speak fast, which is my way. But I also want to thank Dr. Bhatia and go back the three most exciting presentations were at the beginning. And Dr. Bhatia, I just want to voice my gratitude to you too. I was telling you earlier today, you're really driving the work, and whether it's about early childhood education or visual and performing arts integrated into our education, TK-12, I know we have to change that draft, but I want to thank you, Dr. Bhatia, because that is that. And I also want to encourage Dr. Bhatia, you to leave so you can get back to Mahesh and Amadeo and Agustin, but you don't have to stay for this wonky stuff, but I'll try to make it quick. Item E is adoption of Resolution 13-2022, establishing a tax rate for bonds for fiscal year 2022-2023. I'm not going to read this at all. It's a resolution to establish a tax levy in the fiscal year 22-23. It is pro forma. It is required of us. Quite frankly, it was not prepared by me. It was prepared by Makiko Sato and our folks at ISM Advisors about the bond, and it's something we have to prepare the county, and so you're basically approving a resolution saying, yes, we know you have to establish a tax rate for the bonds. and I would recommend approval. If you ask too many questions, I will say, I don't know.
You can take the questions back to them if we have questions. Okay, this is an action item, so before any discussion or questions, a motion and a second, please.
To approve?
Thank you, Freya.
Second.
Thank you, Sophia.
Questions, comments? Seeing none, Rosie, I think we're ready for roll call.
Okay, Mary Beth,
Aye.
Freya,
Aye.
Sophia,
Aye.
Kimberly,
Aye.
Lisette, Sarah,
Aye.
passes 5+1.
Thank you. Thank you for keeping us honest on our bond. Okay, 5F, approval of outstanding bargaining provision agreed upon by Cabrillo Unified School District and Cabrillo Unified Teachers Association.
Again, I won't go into this. This basically just outlines the duration and reopeners that was agreed upon by the Cabrillo United Teachers Association and the Cabrillo Unified Teachers Association, the Cabrillo Unified School District. It basically says we will negotiate the calendar annually. We're already starting to talk about that for the 23-24 year. That we will reopen negotiations at any time covered by the agreement as needed. And for the second and third years, 22-23, 23-24, reopener negotiations will occur on Articles 2 and 3, compensation, health, and welfare benefits, respectively, and up to 2 additional articles selected by each party. And that by March 1, 2024, we will submit initial proposals for the successor agreement to begin in 24-25. And this basically is effective, the duration shall be effective 2021 through 2024. We would move that you approve this as an action item, or we would recommend, excuse me, that you approve this.
Thank you. Motion and a second to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Kim.
I'll second.
Thank you, Sophia.
Questions or comments about this item? Okay, Rosie, roll call, please.
We're doing mass vote.
Oh,
All
right.
in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Passes 5+1.
Okay. Next is approval of AB 1200 for CSEA, CUTA, and unrepresented staff.
So again, I'm not going to read through these documents. They are documents we submitted to San Mateo County Office of Education after negotiations on salary were concluded. Gosh, it seems like it's a month ago. And so we do have to show you the AB 1200 forms for the public. It does assume a 4% tax rate. The assessment tracker shows us higher than that. The actual data may vary. We have had more conservative amounts. We put 4%. When final budget comes in June, we will have a better picture of what that actual real number is, and then we will have to adjust as such. It is important to remember that state funding will change. That may flip us in future years back to local control funding formula, depending on what these numbers finally lay. But we certainly can afford it, this raise for the coming year, and then we will adjust going forward when we know our financial picture. And this is just part of, as several of you have mentioned in the meeting tonight earlier, it's just and I hate to use this, I know I've been taken to task for this metaphor, but it is a roller coaster. Funding in the state of California, as rosy a picture as they say, we are chronically underfunded and they're trying to catch up, and it is one-time funding and it's a year-to-year proposition. So we would love to know every year it's going to be this, but we did settle out, and these were the AB 1200s we were required to get county approval and for the public and for you to see, and we recommend approval.
Could I get a motion and a second, please?
Thank you, Lisette.
Second.
Thank you, Kim.
Questions or comments?
No, just a comment on the roller coaster bit. It's not your term, Sean, so don't feel bad. It's a very commonly used term by anyone who knows anything about public policy in the state of California, and particularly with regards to funding, That's just how it's set up to be. And when you're dependent on state revenues, which are heavily reliant on income taxes, which fluctuate wildly as per the stock market and people's yearly incomes from stocks, that's a completely appropriate term and, broadly used as, including the report that I cited earlier. So support you on that.
Okay, Rosie, vote, please.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 5+1.
Okay, future events. May 17th, Bond and Parcel Tax Oversight Committee meeting via Zoom, 6:30 p.m. May 17th, Family Engagement Series via Zoom, 7 p.m. May 21st, Wellness Festival Celebrating Resilience in Connection, Cunha Middle School, 1 p.m. May 30th, Memorial Day holiday. Everything's closed here. June 9th is our regular board meeting at 6 p.m. End of school year ceremonies, so everyone can mark your calendars. Fairlawn View Elementary School promotion will be June 1st at 11 a.m. El Granada Elementary School promotion will be June 2nd at 8:30 a.m. Hatch Elementary School promotion, June 2nd, 9 a.m. Kings Mountain Elementary School promotion, June 2nd, 10 a.m. Cunha Intermediate School promotion, June 1st, 6 p.m. Half Moon Bay High School graduation, June 2nd, 6 p.m. Pilarcitos High School graduation, June 3rd, 11 a.m. And Los Listos preschool graduation is June 29th and 30th at 5:30 p.m. We are now going to move into closed session. So we're going to take comments now on any public comments we might have on closed session topics. And I don't think we have any. Do we, Rosie?
No comments.
No comments?
No comments.
And just for the public and our folks who are watching on YouTube or through Pacifica Television, I will say that we will convene to another room and then we will come back briefly, as long as this takes. I don't think it'll take that long because it's a short item. And then we will report out on any action taken in closed session at that time. So it's there for posterity.
Okay, we're going to reconvene. We will be back. Board has voted 5-0 for a stipulated expulsion for student identification number 220512-A.
We have to do the motion and
Oh.
vote Sonic.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I thought we did it. We thought we did it.
We learned that this year.
Oh, it's new. Okay.
Okay, let me,
So we need a second?
we had a motion and a second. Can we review that?
Motion.
You were the second.
Who's the motion? I did it first, and Sophia did the second.
Okay, I'll second then. And then we have to do a roll call.
Okay.
So you voted on accepting the secondary?
Stipulated expulsion.
Okay. Thank you. Mary Beth?
Aye.
Freya? Aye. Sophia? Aye. Kimberly?
Aye.
Lisette?
Aye.
Thank you. 5-0.
Okay, we need a motion and a second to adjourn our meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, Lisette.
I'll second.
Thank you, Sophia. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Tomorrow.